if you, again, state your name, where you're from, and then let's try to, we have a lot of people that want to speak, and just get to the essence of what you wanted to say.
Yes, sir. My name is Tony Burgess, Jr. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. Been here. Oh,
Yeah, you might need to get a little closer to the microphone. Yes, sir.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So my name's Tony Burgess, Jr. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I was a poll observer for the Chatham County area. What I observed, and this was my first time being a poll observer. First off, I got to tell you, I'm a veteran from the Navy. So when I came back from service, I was a little disappointed in how my city was being run, especially seeing as we're one of the most impoverished cities in Georgia. And this is a problem for me because what's going on in my city is actually affecting the state. And when I observed what I observed in the polling area, it was disgusting because nobody was actually checking anything. They were just counting. And when I say counting, I mean they were just taking the ballots and one by one going down. There was no bipartisan overlook. Now, there may have been a few on certain tables, but there was not a clear bipartisan check of these ballots. And that disturbed me because while I was observing, while I had the chance to observe, because I got kicked off the floor, but when I was on the floor, there was nothing that ensured me that the votes were actually being counted correctly. If you put, I don't know, 100 or maybe even 500 votes, fraud votes, in that system or in that precinct, and you count them, how do you count that they're actually legal? No one's checking any signatures. They're just simply Biden, Trump, third party. Is that how that process is supposed to run? Now, I've come up here. This is 4 hours away, and I've spent the whole day here with you guys, and I've heard all this testimony and all this issues, but it seems like nobody's actually wanting to get down to the actual problem. There are impoverished cities that are being manipulated by identity politics, and it's causing an effect on the election. Now, the only reason I came up here to talk is because people sort of, like me, they don't get involved with things like this. But this is so important that if you do not act on this, you will leave an opening for terrorist activities as far as taking the election for themselves or putting whoever they want in office. I can't sit by and do that. I served on the CVN 70 Carl Vinson proudly during the service. My ship was one of the ships that was in that. We served because we wanted to get the people who caused 9/11, okay? And we did that. But now it seems like we're having to fight our own people at home just to keep our peace. Can we all agree, if we have a fair, open recount, a fair, legal recount, that means checking signatures, that's just making sure that these people are real, making sure these are Georgians that are voting and not some random people in China or some random person in whoever other country. We don't need things like that in here. We really don't. We already have enough issues. We got enough to deal with as far as economics goes. So I wanted to come up here and voice my opinion about that and also tell you my truth about what's going on. And I wanted you guys to know that when I was poll watching, I got on the floor for roughly 15 minutes before they kicked me off. And the reason they kicked me out was because they said that certain poll workers had an issue with me walking around. Certain poll watchers didn't want me to be here. Now, they could say because of COVID. That's fine. You want to say that? That's fine. I'll tell you right now, I have that right there. I have lupus. I've been diagnosed with lupus through the VA, and this is hydrochloroquine. Thank you. It works. So to sit here and tell me that I cannot exercise my right with my medicine, where's my justice? Where's my right? Okay? Now, I don't know if you guys understand the process of what's going on. We have small businesses down in Savannah that are struggling. Some of them that have been open for years and upon decades and serve the community great. And they're having to close down because of a mayor who feels like COVID is the worst thing in the world. It's gonna kill us all. But if you check the mortality rate in Savannah, Georgia, where's the pandemic? Where is it? There's a lot of people who love the fear monger to get what they want. I'm not one of them to sit here and let you fear monger me, okay? I done seen what fear looks like. I done seen what the worst of humanity can look like. And I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And I just came here, voiced my opinion, drove 4 hours here. I got 4 hours to go back home. And I just wanted to let y'all know that. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for your service to our nation.
Hey, it was my pleasure.
Your opinions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yes,
Is it all right if Jenner and I excuse ourselves?
yes, sir.
We're in very good hands. I think he's done a great job, absolutely great job. I would just say, first of all, as I said to the two representatives there, this is probably the most courteous hearing that Jenner and I have been at in the last week, and the most courteous treatment of this subject that we've seen. And I think that's a credit to the minority in obviously feeling very emotional and very strongly about this, as we do, and conducting it with tough questions, but very, very professional questions. I congratulate you. And I congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, for running such a good hearing.
Thank you.
I just leave you with what the professor said. This is a terrible, terrible constitutional crisis we're in. You're not the only state affected this way. Yeah. There are some with more evidence of fraud than you have. There are some with less. But from what I heard today, if you had hearings and made findings of fact, there's overwhelming proof of fraud. It depends on you, and it depends on your determination of credibility. You look at the ridiculous rejection rate. In 2016, you had 199,000 votes, mail-in votes, 6.4% rejection rate. 2020, you had 1,320,000, and you had no rejection, none, 0.2%. I mean, that can't be possible, except if the testimony those witnesses gave is true, that they weren't allowing Republicans to do their duty, and that constitutes fraud. You're putting ballots in that easily could be tampered with. You have 123,725 statistically invalid votes, according to Professor Ramsted's analysis. You have 96,600 votes that were mailed in, that were cast, put in the ballot box, 96,660 votes that you voted, for which there's no response, none, zero. It doesn't attach to anything. When you look at that rejection rate, and when you look at what you saw on the video, which to me was a smoking gun, powerful smoking gun, well, I don't have to be a genius to figure out what happened. And I don't have to be a genius to figure out that those votes are not legitimate votes. You don't put legitimate votes under a table.
No.
Wait until you throw the opposition out, and in the middle of the night, count them. We would have to be fools to think that. So no need to push it any further, but there's more than ample evidence to conclude that this election was a sham. It was an embarrassment to the citizens of your state. And it's not the only one. Not my place to confuse it anymore, but in my view, it was part of a concerted plan, because certain cities were picked in order to carry this out where they thought they could get away with it. They didn't do it everywhere. It's not accidental that they picked Detroit and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and Milwaukee and Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, Nevada. What do they all have in common? They're controlled by one political party. Some of them have been controlled by that political party for 60 years, and they have records of criminal corruption indictments as long as my arm, and some of them have quite long records for voter fraud. So this was a carefully selected thing they did here. And the one thing common to it all is the mail ballot. Keep the Republicans away from seeing the mail ballot. If they were not fooling around with that mail ballot, then exactly why were they putting us in corrals in Philadelphia or in Pittsburgh? Why were they keeping Republicans away from ballots here? Why were they counting them in the middle of the night if there was nothing wrong with them? You would think they'd want to show them to us.
Exactly.
I think it's clear. And I hope you take the advice of the professor. Whenever we've had a terrible constitutional crisis, we can always go back to one place for the answer, to our founding fathers and the Constitution. They've put the finger on you. They put the finger right on you, on the state legislatures. You're the plenary power. You don't even share it like you do the elections clause with Congress. It's yours alone. And it's because you are the body closest to the people, and you can protect us the best. And we're counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you also, Mr. Burson, for being here. We appreciate your time. Yes, you can.
Burson, yes, sir.
First, I want to just thank you for your service to our country. I appreciate you being here. It took 4 hours to get here from Savannah. You probably drive like I do pretty fast. But I wanted to ask you a question. Do you believe there is voter fraud in this election on November 3rd?
I believe there has been voter tampering as far as rigging goes. Now, as far as hard evidence, I cannot prove that. But from what I've observed, it's clear to me that there's no bipartisan in this election. It's very one-sided leaning as far as
a voter,
voters go.
And as a voter and citizen of Georgia, based on what you've heard today, do you feel we should do something to ensure that it doesn't happen again? I
do believe so. I do believe there is actually ways to make the voting process a lot smoother, easier, and 100% verifiable. And I wish our state would try to look into that as far as that goes. I can't force you guys. I can only voice my concerns and my opinions and send petitions up. But it's up to you guys to make that call. And I hope you guys make that call because, like I said, if these guys are allowed to make these small little increment changes in each county to affect the overall election, we have a major problem. Small fires turn into big fires. But if you don't pay attention to them, it'll look like California.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.